They had an abandoned Whoville,
it's not abandoned.
outpost.
It's part of the theme.
Nobody lived there.
Teddy.
Nobody lived there no more. The Grinch did something. He killed them.
This is why Teddy can't go to theme parks.
Green eggs and Hamas. That's what happened. All those people were executed. All those people were gone. There was no one living in that part of Whoville no more. And it was real sad to see that we can't get along.
In the park
I don't like
after
hate.
flowers?
I'm not trying to hate nobody, Bobby.
All right, well, John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karn, Richard Karn's brother.
No, he's not.
He was in
Karr.
a deleted scene from season 4 of Home
He's
Improvement.
not Dickie Karn's brother.
Oh, well,
John Mark Karr, not Karn.
John Mark Owen Wilson.
Yeah, Richard Karn. Al Borland.
Al Borland.
Not John.
Not same person. Not related. Just
They
because
do tuck their shirts in similar though. Button-ups, you know.
They don't do, Bobby.
That's very suspicious.
Well, I mean, I got my eye on you. Maybe we should talk to Richard Karn one day and ask him about his brother cousin. John Mark.
That's not. They're not related.
Maybe.
It's spelled differently.
But I think what's really interesting about John Mark Karr is that he does have such a star quality.
No, he doesn't.
Some of us do. Not everybody does, Bobby. But I got star quality. John Mark Karr's got star quality. And JonBenet, she didn't really have star quality.
I think John Mark Karr would disagree.
You had a casting couch. She was a casting ouch. Okay. But
We want to look at. We're doing John Mark Karr part 2.
Part 2.
Okay, and
The fibula.
Yeah. So where we left off in the last one was where we leave off, Teddy. We explored this creep.
Oh,
He had been
yeah.
emailing with Michael Tracy.
Michael Tracy, who is not a porn star, even though there are a lot of porn stars named Michael Tracy if you type in Michael Tracy porn on Google's.
We're trying to recap him, catch him back up.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was talking to Michael Tracy, and he was like, "I killed JonBenet, but it was an accident." And there was and he was living in Singapore, or no, he was living in Thailand.
They set up a sting operation. Patsy dies. They arrest John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr gets arrested.
They let him go.
He got let go, and then because
he was still in holding. He was still in holding for the California porn charges. They originally
there was child porn on his computer, but then he got let go again
because they lost the computer.
And it's
Very
like,
weird. Was it a quid pro quo? Did he agree to be a patsy for Patsy? You know,
there were PIs of the Ramseys who were also like
Ollie Gray and John St. Augustine.
They were the ones that he went to.
Michael Tracy had been talking to him for 4 years, and we found out that basically Ollie Gray and John St. Augustine at some point in time became aware.
Motherfucker.
They became aware of the communications.
That motherfucker.
And but the Ramseys always said they didn't know him. So he gets arrested, he gets let go, let go from the one thing. But we want to go back a little bit before we explore where John Mark Karr is now.
Oh, yeah.
And look at the emails.
I hope he's not nearby.
John Mark Karr, when he's talking with Michael Tracy for 4 years.
Yeah.
I ended up tracking down the 98-page arrest warrant.
You found it?
I found it and I read every single fucking page.
I've heard it's hard to find.
It was a little hard to find, yeah. It took a little bit of
It was 98
around.
pages?
It's 98 pages long. And
like Nick Lachey, Nick 98 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
98
Nick Lachey
degrees.
Ramsey, yeah. So when he starts emailing him in 2002, okay, he kind of alludes to the fact that it's, he's not necessarily the person, but he's very aware of what went on.
Oh.
And through emails with him, he slowly starts leaking out things to Michael Tracy, one of which being that he was not the only person there.
Oh, that there was someone else who was, having sex with this little girl with him.
Exactly. And he makes it takes a little while for him to go through it. And one of the correspondences that Michael Tracy says, I do understand, however, that you know in great detail what happened that night. And so does someone else who I'm assuming is female.
Oh.
And John Mark Karr goes, thank you for that acknowledgement. This helps me to carry on with this. It is not easy for me. It is horrible for me. Michael Tracy then goes on to say, I'm also assuming that in light of your comment that they left at different times, it was the woman who left first. John Mark Karr goes, that is not necessarily true, though I would rather comment on this later so as to not completely incriminate myself. The modus operandi has two distinct personalities. One was romantic and passionate. The other was more pragmatic and violent, which leads to the end result. One I do not like to think about.
What are they talking about, Bobby? There's, I don't understand. That's a lot of big words.
And Michael Tracy goes, so I asked myself why. And John Mark Karr goes, because the two at a certain point did not see eye to eye. John Mark Karr basically makes it seem like one of them, one of the more personalities that was there was more violent or whatever. Which again, this makes me think he's talking almost in like a split personality situation. Like maybe there was another person there, but maybe he's also saying in the way of like he's got this, we know that he's transitioned to be a female or whatever. That's what they've said. He's denied that.
But it's the thing of like,
if he's just alluding to his different personalities, like
Oh my
By
God.
the time the woman one left, it was just me, John Karr, the caring one. Who,
Oh my God, there was John and Jonna. How absolutely terrifying to think of there being an M. Night Shyamalan split sort of scenario going on with this person having their way doing something with JonBenet, but I don't understand really. I mean, was he trying to penetrate her? Did he have a little penis, or did he not have a penis at all?
I mean, he basically says that oral sex is the only way that you could have sex with a child. Like, it's the only pure way too. But he like, so then he goes on also to say, he's like, there was a dance in the act performed with JonBenet, but also a dance between two killers, one male and one female. The male is not necessarily the dominant one, nor the violent one. The writer also includes the following verbiage in the same email. Yes, I'm aware of the blunt trauma to her head. It was the worst of the end result. It went against all that I believed in because it tarnished my princess. Blood in small quantities is a different matter, such as blood from her hot little that I so wish I could drink at this very moment.
Oh, so JonBenet, I can't say
Okay, yeah.
That's ridiculous. It's a double standard.
Well, you still say it anyway.
Well, I'm going to say it at least 2 more times this episode. Stay tuned. Okay, this is bizarre. So that's like the first time I've heard him say like really like naughty kind of shit.
Disgusting.
Like, you know, because normally he's like, oh, I like to take this milk is spicy. You know, this milk is too spicy for me. That kind of like, oh my gosh, is that a debit card? So it's like, now there's another side to this person. Mm-hmm. And there might be multiple personalities to this person too. And also this person is making all this up, I think maybe. So it's weird. It almost feels like a weird like kind of like fan fiction kind of thing, where like instead of like people putting their favorite celebrities or characters and things in relationships, like this guy's just doing that with JonBenet, but it's like this weird like scenario of like accidentally killing her because I loved her loved Donna.
Well, I mean,
so much.
maybe the female did. You know?
Oh yeah, she got because
again, he's always said
fiery.
that maybe he wasn't alone, and then he said he has been alone, and it's just so weird. But it's a thing of maybe he's being specific, like I wasn't alone when she died, like if somebody else was there.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing that threw me for a loop that kept coming up in the emails when I was reading them is the mention of a red pen. It starts in this March 30th, 2006 email called "My Kingdom for a Red Pen." Okay. And in this correspondence with Michael Tracy, he basically says, after a bunch of other, sexual stuff.
Absolutely right.
He goes, I want to ask you to do something for me. Go through your house and find a red pen. Then call up a friend and have them look for a red pen in their house. When you find someone who could find one readily in their home, let me know what their profession is. The real person to ask to participate in this exercise would be the Ramseys, though I know they would not. This is pertinent to the case.
A red pen.
A red pen.
It's pertinent. That means it's important.
And we know that there was a red marker, basically a red pen Sharpie drawing of a heart on her inside of her hand. That Patsy says she didn't know where it came from.
On JonBenet's hand, the night she died, there was a red marker, mark of a heart on the palm of her hand.
And it keeps coming up, and it's like I couldn't figure out. It's like, what is he trying to say here?
The red pen.
Because he wants to know what the profession is.
Wait.
Yeah.
The profession. Red pen. Red pen is like red panda. Panda is like PEMDAS, which is a mathematical procedure, an order of operations when you're trying to solve mathematics. Who teaches that? A teacher. And a teacher uses a red pen. Bobby.
Yeah, I think there was a shorter stretch you could have taken there. I like that though.
I solved it.
So he's saying it because it's like a teacher.
Like a teacher, like they're grading something. So
he's saying the Ramseys probably wouldn't be able to find one in the home because they're not.
They don't teach nobody nothing.
I don't have a red pen.
I don't have no red pen either.
So it's basically so you're saying maybe he's admitting to being that's how he met her?
He's a teacher too.
I mean, he does leave breadcrumbs, and there's a lot of times where he kind of chastises Michael Tracy, where he goes, Michael, you're not paying attention to this right. Like I've said this before, and it's like I don't like repeating myself and stuff like this where
oh my God, he's temperamental.
Almost like he is leaving little breadcrumbs. So Michael Tracy goes on to write on April 2nd, 2006, your reference to the red pen intrigues me. The unidentified writer responds with, it all has to do with the red heart drawn on JonBenet's left hand. I'm not sure I'm prepared to see photos of JonBenet post-mortem. I had quite a collection of photos of her alive when I was in the U.S. I also had a few of her funeral. In the raid of my house, law enforcement found all of them.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if by drawing a red heart on JonBenet Ramsey's hand, he was trying to turn her into a Care Bear. You know how Care Bears got the shapes on their bellies? And they've got different like things like it's a rainbow bear, it's a love bear, and I'm just thinking that maybe there's a kind of a line of
Care
merchandise.
Bears,
I mean,
it shows a certain level of care or whatever.
Let's make a JonBenet doll.
Or, something like a kid just had on her hand and he knew about the report.
Oh, yeah, not got my hand down.
But Michael Tracy still doesn't seem to get what he's talking about. Because there's a point where Michael Tracy goes, P.S. I'm assuming you mean that red pens can be souvenirs as well? And John Mark Karr responds, not so much. I was merely trying to explain something pertinent to the case. And that's it. That's where he leaves it. And so it's a thing of, again, he doesn't spell it out for him, but it is a thing where he's leaving.
He's like,
I think it is something pertinent to the case. Like, I think you're right, Todét. I think it's very much referencing, like, maybe I met her through being a teacher.
Yeah.
He lived in Atlanta.
So
we don't know, like, did JonBenet go to school in Atlanta? Like,
he might have been a teacher or like a substitute teacher, maybe a math teacher. And sometimes my teachers, I bet several of them fantasized making love to me till I died.
Right.
It's just one of those things where you just.
I don't think that's true, but yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I believe that you think that.
Well, sometimes I would say I was pretty seductive as a child.
But yeah, okay, that's right. There's also another really great part of this email exchange here too,
right?
Where John Mark Karr basically says that he's like, I have no desire to astonish anyone. That would make me a sensationalist. I have some things to say, but I have no idea if it was published or not. I do not read published information about the case. I cannot bear it. I never could. Michael Tracy mentions the whole her being hit with a flashlight. John Mark Karr goes, damn it. He's like, I didn't know that information was even out there or whatever like that. Michael Tracy goes, well, the flashlight was on the counter. And he goes, that wasn't the flashlight. I brought my own flashlight. I just thought that it was like, he's basically saying that he thought that they already knew that it was definitely a flashlight. But
what?
Yeah, so he's saying that he brought his own flashlight and took it with him. Because again, he's saying he doesn't read anything about the case. And he gets actually kind of defensive in that exchange too, where he's like, well, let me prove something to you that like other people don't know. And he's like, does the autopsy or any of the stuff report mention that she had like snot dripping down that night because she had a very runny nose? And so he like points that out, which I don't think they do ever say that.
Well, she was being suffocated.
And there's a lot of weird stuff where he's like talking about seeing her snot glistening in the moonlight and shit. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah. Because again, he's saying like he like propped her up on pipes, and it's a thing.
On pipes.
He tries to tell Michael Tracy
Christmas pipes.
He's like, if you look at the location, if you look at the crime scene photos, long enough, you'll find out where she was hung. Did you say Christmas pipes?
I know. I mean, it doesn't sound like a really good album. I would want to listen to it. Carol of the Bells performed by Christmas Pipes. Come on, Bobby, dream with me. Picture it. I'm trying to turn something positive out of this.
Yeah, I don't think Christmas Pipes inspired by
but this does
the pipes JonBenet was hung from would be a good Christmas album.
Well, let's just table it for now. Now, I do want to just say, on a quick editorial note, that it's really interesting him trying to interject or include this new flashlight into the case, because then it's for us to almost remember how we were thinking about the PR techniques, and like sometimes there's like, oh, look at this shiny object. It does two things. Like if people go to investigate, like some sort of like red herring or diversion or something, it's like
muddies the waters.
It muddies the waters. It's like somehow it covers up. Like it might actually have been something that was done or used or part of it, but then it's attributing it to someone else. So spinning it in a way.
That's just the whole John Mark Karr thing in a nutshell.
Well, true.
Through a hole.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at a different way, even though he's clear.
It's like, oh, flashlight, not the flashlight that's on the counter that also maybe Burke that he hit. Yeah, it's a different flashlight completely.
In there,
and it's like
also there's supposedly another flashlight out there.
Where's this other flashlight that has John Mark Karr's DNA on it?
The two baseball bats, or all of this weird stage-looking crime scene, or it could just be a messy house.
Yeah, what in the John Travolta's expressed anal glands?
Near the end of their exchange, John Mark Karr very much starts harping that he really wants to talk to Patsy. He's like, John, not so much. He's like, I don't feel like I could connect with John, but Patsy, it's like, I really would like. I need you to get me their current home address and their current emails.
I felt the same way.
He's like, the home addresses I have are not, they're not working, or like the email I have isn't like working anymore. And
I tried calling the home address, and
I post like John's email in there too, where it's like all the emails he uses are his tail number for his plane. It's like N something.
Oh,
at whatever.
But yeah, okay, Michael Douglas.
So he's very desperately trying to do it, and then he also starts talking about how Michael Tracy, who's currently also working on a JonBenet book at this time.
Oh, he's working on a book.
Yeah, while he's been talking to Daxis, you know.
Oh wow, that would have been the makings of a really
kind
good
of like
book.
hints that like maybe you should include, you know, me. I should be a part of the book, the chapter, or whatever, like our exchanges. And then that slowly turns into I've been working on like a manuscript kind of thing.
Daxis was writing a book too.
Yeah, and it's weird because again, saying he didn't want to be famous, but we got this book here, and then it's like they don't have. I would love to see the full manuscript, but they do have the chapters here.
Or manuscript. We are progressive.
I'll
just
put
like
on the screen now. Yeah.
Bobby is not. He's not a. What's that word again? When people hate women. A Republican.
No, yeah, I'm not. I'm agnostic.
Yeah,
but
he won't shut up about it. Like, Bobby.
He splits the book into 3 parts.
Oh,
the first part 1 just being Daxis.
Okay.
And it seems to be a lot about his childhood because it's like part 1's mommy dearest.
part 1 Daxis makes so much sense.
Satan's love.
Ew.
Oh. Wait,
What?
hold on here. Look at this. Part 1. Daxis, mommy dearest, a mother's love. Satan's son, devil's daughter.
Oh.
2 different personalities. A man and a woman.
Oh.
Satan's son and the devil's daughter.
Handsome little prince. Thank heaven for little girls. Perfect doll living. A doll.
And about a girl of 10 or 12. This becomes a confusing part of the Michael Tracy emails where he tries to relate an incident in where he was basically accused of murder of this 12-year-old girl. But he's also, in that, he's like in the emails, he's like, I didn't even find it attractive. Like, to say that it's...
Bobby, look.
Yeah.
So when it's in section, and so in part 1, section 4, about a girl of 10 or 12, part A, there's desire to possess her, with the possess written in the right letters. As an expert on possession and as an expert on JonBenet Ramsey, we have the word possess, which kind of ties then into the ransom letter.
That's a good point.
But it's spelled correctly, but it's another one of those things of like, oh, why are we even talking about devils and people and possession and stuff unless we're trying to retroactively, you know, change the organics of the story, of the narrative. But
you think you're making this as part of the confusion?
It might,
because again, this wasn't really that released to the public. It took a while for this to
I
come.
think it's weird to have there's a lot of pedophiles, right?
You made a good point though on the fact that he knows how to spell possess. Like there's
a lot of pedophiles out there, but for them to go with like this possession thing and have it in like where they're doing like a Microsoft Word, like, you know, dream casting outline of what their book would look like. Like for them to desire to possess her, like it's a little analytical. It tells me it's like, oh wait, this person, there are some things they are trying to like muddy those waters again, you know. But that's weird and also not common. Now, what other things are there? There's a schoolmaster.
Because again, that's where he's, you know, a teacher's charisma. It would also be the things we do for love. Little girls exclusively. God, who would read this? Like,
is that the whole book? It's like, oh wait, no, that's just the first.
That's just part 1. And it's like, also the thing is like, who do you think this is for? Like, who wants to fucking read?
I know
any of this shit.
Oh my God.
So part 2, Daxis loves JonBenet. First part, someday my prince will come, groomed for her prince, pageants plus, beyond her years, good little mommy. I want to be a pediatrician when I grow up. This might be a quote that he maybe heard from her, or I think this might be something she said in a pageant.
Oh.
So, sweet 16 forever 6.
God,
what the fuck does that mean? But I do like this. Not a king's ransom. Listen carefully. Against a father. What is a princess worth? Diversionary tactics.
Oh, diversionary tactics.
Again, this is what he's talking about with the
Oh my God.
And then awaiting a princess, where it's
an entrance not grand.
This is
sleeping
like
in her bed.
Bill McReynolds, John Karr reenactment.
I know. He basically did that. The parents' room, the beginnings
we had
of
Bill
a diversion.
Inside. Turns out it was John Karr.
Turns out it was Alexis Bledel.
In anticipation, take your position.
Oh my gosh.
The bed of a princess. But yeah, and that's the thing. So this is the way I carry it. He says basically that she was, it almost makes it sound like he wore a perfume or something, because he says she was comforted by her mother's scent and made not a word as she carried. He says she carried her downstairs. The thing. So it's almost like, was this a woman there, or was this John Mark Carr's female?
He put on a wig and became Patsy Ramsey. That's wild. And look at this with this whole like to worship her and like the blood of Christ, the blood of JonBenet. That also further ties it to like, oh, she was like a sacrificial lamb, or like, you know, like.
Well, no, he didn't mean to kill her, but yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's about like the rhetorical input. And this almost feels like this was like him, like this person, John Mark Karr, he's almost like he's almost like a grenade being thrown into a room, and then once it explodes, it takes every little piece of all of the random bits or the things that are just out there about this case, and just covers it with his cum or with his name, with his seed.
But you gotta consider, is it true? And is this a weird or is this just like a? And I think it's the thing just to.
Oh my God! It keeps going.
Oh yeah, this is still strange love. He's got a 2-part: asphyxia erotica prima, asphyxia erotica fina.
What the fuck does that even mean?
He's talking about this is the section where he's talking about what happened with sex unspeakable, deadly games.
He was choking her.
Yeah, and it was a thing where he talks about it's like bringing them slow, right before they're gonna lose consciousness. You're supposed to loosen up on the. Well, he said it's erotic. And
a little neck.
I don't know.
You think? Oh my God, Eden Burns.
Not
Eden.
No, that's just when she died.
Oh. And then there's a
funeral home for notes delivery. So this makes it sound like after the delivery, the funeral, he wrote them a note.
Oh my God, this would be the worst book ever. And how?
Well, not even just a book too. I mean, it could be like
a series.
He wanted to do a movie.
A movie.
Yeah, we had him talking in the emails about that too. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. Well, I definitely think. What did he say in the movie? Because I got some ideas too.
What's your ideas before?
Well, my idea is that Kathleen Turner.
Okay.
If she wanted to do kind of like I'm a man, but I'm a woman.
She's bad now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I mean, she looks like a hairless obese cat.
No, she has hair.
She got hair.
Yeah.
Kathleen Turner got hair still. That's good.
She's just a lot more. It's like oh, that's Kathleen Turner.
Yeah. William H. Gacy, he'd be great.
Macy.
I love him. He's also he puts it inside Felicity Huffman.
He doesn't really look like him.
Well, I mean, you can look like him, if you just put some, I'm not saying do blackface, but.
Well, yeah, why would you?
But just put something on him. And then, Kirstie Alley, she'd be great too.
What is with why are you picking women?
I like women that have the air about them of just,
dual, one for a woman, one for the man with them.
Bodacious cats, cats that have a lot of heft. You
got raspy voiced women from the 90s.
Well, you think of like 50 Goes West, and it's like in the Western town, there was like the burlesque shows with the cats, the big titted kitty cat women.
What does this have to do with John Mark Karr?
I'm saying those women remind me of Kathleen Turner and Kirstie Alley.
And how does that remind you of John Mark Karr?
Because I would want to cast them.
Why?
As him. To give them an opportunity, Bobby. I'm trying to make up for the sins of our fathers.
All right, well, this is terrible casting. So.
Well, who would you cast? Who would John Mark Karr cast?
Well, I'm just trying to say, what I did to their daughter did not break them in half financially, but it eventually did.
Yeah.
Eventually it did. And I take responsibility for it, Michael. And I want this book to be successful. And if there is a film to follow, I want it to be successful highly. And I want to help him. I want to help his children.
Right.
And that's
I think you can guarantee a movie, Daxis.
What?
I think you can guarantee a movie. Absolutely.
I already know the actor I want to play my part.
Who do you want to play your part?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. That's fast. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, who would play the role? And Depp was one of the people that came to mind.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not making that up. That's not bullshit.
You know why? Because that's incredible. It's because he reminds me so much of me, and he looks like me, and he would play the part perfectly. I have his film when he did Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah.
Which is very similar to my personality, except for the fact that Willy Wonka did not know how to treat children. He had no knowledge of how to be around children.
Oh, I didn't know that Michael Tracy and John Mark Karr invented a podcast.
No, sorry, Teddy. That was the phone calls.
Oh, no. Okay, that's good, because I was like, wow, that sounds a little bit better than our podcast.
It was like morning zoo type shit. Just a little sound effect.
Caller number
John Mark Karr.
Caller number 3, you're going to get hot on your hand.
Says he wanted to suck the blood out of her.
Hot. Jesus. But I do happen to agree with John Mark Karr. Johnny Depp would be a really great John Mark Karr in this movie. A movie whose profits, it sounds like, and proceeds, especially from the movie and the book, would eventually make their way to the Ramseys or to John specifically.
Okay. And what a delusional asshole that thinks, what are you going to do all this? Are you going to negotiate all this fucking anonymously? Like, as Daxis? Like, I'm going to be really strict about the film rights. And it's like, I think the cops are going to want to talk to you first, buddy.
Right. It's like they're just trying to, like make it like, oh, here's like this, like let's get out into the public world. Like, like this other storyline of like what the real killer JonBenet like was doing and how like depraved and scary and like, you know, Forrest Whitaker was. But then but let's not actually have this guy get arrested for anything, and like let's not focus too much on the fact that there's no fucking evidence and he wasn't in that state. Like,
and he keeps throughout that exchange before we move on, he does also harp a lot on the fact that like the DNA, they didn't check her actual like body. He says he like kissed her all over her body. It's like they just checked the clothes, and that was like a mistake for them not to do that.
Well, sometimes kisses don't leave DNA. There was a really important time. I think it was my confirmations when I remember that time slowed down as my grandfather, he walked down the aisle of the church that was made out of birch trees, the birch church we called it. And this is when I was in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, he was not a fast man. He was a slow man. But when time...
He sure as hell caught you.
When time froze, well, it was almost like there was a staring into his eyes as he did not blink. And he just is slowly approaching me slowly across the, I don't know, it's probably about 10 meters. We do meters over there.
Yeah, I don't think you know that anymore.
And I was almost hypnotized, Bobby. And he just kept coming and coming towards me. And eventually, by the time he reached me, I understood something that was newly confirmed in me, that I am a version of him. And when he kisses me, he is kissing the version of him that never got kissed, like, or hasn't been kissed since he was a kid. But there was no DNA. There was only paternal love.
Yeah, BetterHelp.com. So, Jesus fucking Christ, Teddy.
I'm just saying.
You really should have reported it or something.
Well, he never taught me how to write.
He never taught you.
He knew that I would write a letter to the police. But they didn't have 911. They only had pigeons.
They only had pigeons. And
you had to write a letter. You just had to say, "Get over here," and then they'd be like, "Where are you at?" And then you had to write the address. And so I didn't learn letters, and I didn't know numbers until I was, I don't know, about 7 numbers old.
7 numbers old? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Around the 9/11. Oh my God, maybe that's why I'm so identified with 9/11, because that is when I had self-awareness, was when I was 9/11, when I had 7 numbers in age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not really, no. All right. Who's here?
I don't know.
Is that Donna outside?
Ah! Oh no! And then they brought him back from Thailand, but they brought him in a plane, not a car, even though Karr is his last name. So it's like, what? Why is he not John Mark Plain?
God damn it, Teddy.
What? Oh, I'm catching her up, Bobby.
She's not getting it. Donna's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Donna, you want to tell? You want to say what happened?
Well,
she don't want to say.
The page went off.
Why is that, Teddy?
I don't know. I think the ghost.
What'd it say? What did it say?
It said 9/11, so I thought it was a fucking emergency.
It wasn't. Sometimes there's a pocket dial with my pager. I put it in my pocket.
Well, then I thought you killed one of my cats.
Why?
Because like you kill.
Oh, yeah, well.
And I know you've been wanting to kill one of the cats.
Oh, wow. Well, I told you last time if I type kill on purpose, then I'm probably going to kill one of your cats.
See, that's why I came home. I just wanted to make sure. And I lost the job anyway, so, you know.
So you went home to check on your cats.
Yeah, because I was a priority.
Saw it was there and then decided to come over.
I can't stay. I got to go. I got to check on my cat.
Well,
good job, Teddy.
She also wanted to bring me a milkshake. Where's my milkshake?
Oh, I forgot that.
Oh my God, Donna! So not only did you get fired for being incompetent at cutting hair, and not only are you accusing me of killing your cats, but now you don't even know nothing about John Mark Karr, and we're not going back.
I mean, her not knowing.
And I got no milkshake.
Her not knowing anything about John Mark Karr might have been a lot of your fault, because whatever you just said was so wrong.
Yeah, very convoluted, Teddy.
I think you're gonna get it. He's just basically a pervert like Teddy. So.
What? I'm not knowing about right now, John Mark Karr.
Yeah, the guy that we're talking about. We're talking about John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr doesn't look at people's feet on the bus.
How do you fucking know that?
Because I don't know.
I don't know. He
Is
feels
that
like
what all perverts
he looks like somebody who just stares straight ahead on the bus. Like, no matter what, and doesn't blink.
He does look like that. He looks like someone who saw Matrix Reloaded 17 times.
Like, if lizard people were real people,
like
I would be like, okay, I know one of them is John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr.
For sure. I don't know.
He's got
else.
like those extra eyelids that go.
Oh, yeah. It makes like that weird pussy noise.
Creepy.
So many more things. And the more porn I watch, the more I realize that so many things sound like wet pussies.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, if you watch like porn and cooking videos, you get a lot of the same sounds.
Yeah, the algorithm would probably
Especially the mac and cheese
get a little
ones.
wild.
And what is it these days with churches not letting you watch no porn when you're in the church?
Because it's church, Teddy. There's kids there.
Is this why you're no
There's
longer a
porn in the
Christian?
Bible.
Wait, did you get kicked out of a church? Is this why you stopped
I
going?
may have gotten kicked out of the church for watching porn on my telephone.
Okay, well,
Teddy,
Donna.
is that why you're not born again?
Well, I don't want to be born again. I want to be born again. And that takes more time. And no one's ever done it before, so don't judge me. I'm going to show you how to do it. But
How to be born again?
yeah, it involves a
I
lot
think
of
plenty of
porn.
people have done that.
It's going to be porn again.
Oh my God.
When we get started on the episode,
It's a Christian
Porn
porn.
again.
It's a Christian porn site.
Porn again.
It's all just like softcore.
Yeah.
It's basically just like people take images from Cole's website and just put it on there.
Put it in the AI. They put some goats
But
around them.
what they do is they take the time though to compile the different models. They find them in the different pictures. It's not just copy paste it. It's like, oh, you want Sheila?
So there's thought.
Here's Sheila
There's thought.
in a cardigan. Here's Sheila in these high-rise jeans.
And fishnet stockings. Jesus Christ.
No, they don't do
For a
that. there.
throwback, like porn again.
Put both your fists inside your
There's no
pussy,
stockings.
Jesus.
You don't see leg like that in porn again.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people out of masturbating through, the love of Christ and appreciating women's bodies.
All I'm thinking about is Megan Thee Stallion just twerking her big butt cheeks during the Last Supper.
Oh my God.
But they didn't know it was Last Supper.
What a
They
show.
thought it was just a regular supper.
What are you talking about? Why was she? Why was she there?
Because no, she's there in the porn I'm watching when I'm porn again.
Oh, no.
I love Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion's in porn.
Megan Thee Stallion's
Yeah.
amazing.
She
Wait,
horse
porn again?
porn.
Also, by the way, you
I'm
can
not
make
talking
money.
about the rapper. I'm talking about the horse porn actress, Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh,
Her name's spelled different.
Was she around
Let's
first?
see.
She was technically, but now she's dead. So it's like one of those things where she hasn't been around as long, but she was first.
You know what? Check out. Was it Jungle Pussy? That's a good one.
Jungle Pussy.
Jungle
What
Pussy.
animals are in that?
That's a good. That's a good. Female rapper in the same vein.
Oh, I can't masturbate to it.
But porn again, by the way,
Yeah.
you might actually have something here. If you make a website that is like what I said, where it's just clothing stuff, but if you it's just off Amazon, and then you do an affiliate link on the site where it's like, oh, I actually do like
Yeah,
these
I don't-
jeans though.
I
you can just buy them.
I don't really know what
wanna
any
see-
of those
For your
words
wife.
mean.
You wanna
but
see your wife
yeah.
in 'em?
Oh, like you see clothes in porn, and you're like, oh, I want that. Click, and you can buy it.
Exactly, but porn
Oh.
again, because there's not normally clothes in porn because that defeats the purpose.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Well-
we should probably get back.
Yeah,
to
what were we
this.
talking about?
We were talking about John Karr. So we know now that then he got arrested.
Yes.
he gets arrested. He comes back. They clear him after they talk to him.
He wasn't coming on people's backs, Bummy.
Nope, wasn't coming on people's backs. We got this.
He
Let's stay-
returned
Yeah,
to
he
America.
returned.
Is what he meant
But
to
they
say.
kept him in custody.
Sorry, everybody. Bobby does.
They kept him in custody for 2 more months, and then it was the California thing. We'll play that again.
But he remained in custody, accused of downloading child pornography in a 2001 case in California. A series of law enforcement failures set him free Thursday after Karr sat in prison for 2 months. All criminal charges are now cleared, but Karr's attorney said Friday that his client feels vilified in the eyes of the public.
There have been claims that Mr. Karr is a child molester or serial killer. With all of the publicity that this case has generated, nobody has come forward with a single complaint about him doing anything wrong.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's a good point in that, somebody,
don't
it'd be
die.
weird that there's no victims despite he's being such a prolific kind of predator.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, he had child porn on his
Right?
computer.
Supposedly. But they couldn't figure out when it was downloaded because the computer was lost. And I went back, though, and looked into that 2001 case, though.
Did you?
Yes. That actually started because of JonBenet too.
What?
There was he when he was like a teacher back in California or whatever.
Yeah.
There was this lady that he'd been talking to. He met this lady because she was also interested in communicating with this killer. His name was Richard A. Davis.
Richard Allen Davis was convicted of kidnapping and killing 12-year-old Polly Klaas back in 1993. He was sentenced to death.
Richard Davis.
And basically, he had killed a friend of hers, and so she just needed closure, kind of thing.
Closures.
John Mark Karr had also been communicating with Richard Davis.
Oh.
It was more of a thing of where he wanted to know that if he loved the little girl that he killed.
Oh.
And he wanted basically to feel seen, kind of thing. It was like
Yeah.
a weird. And somehow, Richard A. Davis, through some sort of weird meet cute thing, sets up John Mark Karr and this lady to talk. I don't know why.
Oh my
It's
God.
a very vague part of it.
Instead of Mike Nichols closer, it's Mike Nichols closure.
Yeah, but it's not closure. It's
Well, you got 2 women and 2 men. It's a similar cast.
So she started talking with John Mark Karr. This is back in 2001, and at some point in time, he starts bringing up the JonBenet stuff, and very much hints that he did it.
Yeah.
So she works with the police department down there, and they set up a thing where they again record. This
Down
is
there?
before he got recorded in 2006 to record him on tape, basically saying the same shit.
Oh my God.
Which then led to the basically the seizure of his.
Someone is in love.
They led to a seizure of computers and stuff, and then like he just fled the country. But that's never brought up that JonBenet was really the focus of the 2001 case too.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Because it's also it's kind of like a failure of the police too, where it's like, oh, if this guy was already on your radar, and for the Ramseys to not know.
What state was he in California?
He was in California, and
in
left.
2001, he was like talking to this lady who's they were both like arranged in a meet cute by a serial killer, and then basically he was telling this lady that he insinuated that he was with had gotten from JonBenet and done what he done.
They set up another sting,
and then they set up a sting, and when they got his computer, they saw that there was child porn on it. But it was all because of JonBenet. Look at JonBenet bringing us closer together with JonBenet Karr.
And making him flee the country. And
she is a great instigatory device for beginning the journey of a lot of people's lives. Especially people named John.
If you confess to killing a high-profile murder, it's gonna raise attention.
It's definitely kind of crazy that they don't talk about her as being part of that sting, and they also like try to. That sting just brings a lot of questions to my mind.
Well, because it's a stain to even bring up that case, because it's like a thing of like law enforcement bungled that whole fucking thing up.
He's not registered as a sex offender?
Nope.
Wow.
No, he's just free, living his life.
He's dressed creepy too.
He
looks
is.
like someone said, "Hey, dress creepy."
He's like he's the first Amish person to.
They don't wear
and
collar.
that was right, and that was 2007. So it's like free man now from the case. It's like got it golden, going good. Then we get to 2010, and he kind of fucks up just a little bit.
The man who once claimed he murdered JonBenet Ramsey has been ordered to stay away from a 19-year-old woman. Samantha Spiegel told San Francisco authorities that John Mark Karr, who now goes by the name Alexis Reich, threatened to hunt her down and kill her. She also says he talked about sexually exploiting children. Spiegel's lawyer says police were unable to serve Karr with a restraining order because they couldn't find him. He was last seen in Seattle.
So he was like trying to. There was a girl he was stalking.
Yeah.
Appearing on NBC's Today Show, 19-year-old Samantha Spiegel said she's known John Mark Karr since she was 9, when she was a student and he was a teacher's aide at this school in San Francisco. Spiegel said years later they got engaged, but things moved quickly to Karr contacting her hundreds of times a day and allegedly sending her threatening messages.
Oh my God. He was sending a text messages like, if you deceive me, I will kill you.
Wow.
He was in love with her. That's how you show your love in America.
Daddy, no.
When you're a red-blooded American man who's got a lot of testosterone, you instead of I love you, you say I will kill you.
No.
Because if I can't love you, then no one else can.
God damn.
That's
not a healthy relationship.
No, it's not.
Well, it's one of those things until you fall in love with a 9-year-old and then later want to have sex with them and kill them when they're
bleep that.
I'm just saying, like, you're not in his shoes. You're not, in the driver's seat of this car.
And then on this press tour, he makes the mistake of going on a show called Dr. Keith.
Dr. Keith, he was in Madagascar. Yeah.
Honestly, normally I'm pretty good at figuring out who you're confusing this person for, and I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, here's him on Dr.
He played Jada Pinkett Smith.
That doesn't make any sense.
Jada Pinkett Smith of Madagascar, Jada Pinkett Smith.
I know. How
was
could
played
he
by
play
Dr. Keith?
That doesn't make any goddamn sense. The character wasn't Jada Pinkett Smith.
It was CGI, Bobby.
All right, Dr. Keith.
Favorite authors of yours?
Can't say that I really have a favorite author.
Favorite movie of all time?
I love children's films. The Secret Garden. It's one of my favorites.
Favorite actress, then?
Mostly child actors and actresses are very impressive. I've worked a bit with children in acting and singing, and would love to have pursued that as a career, possibly.
Oh, look at the actresses. I mean, he loves all these actresses, children actresses, just like Kirstie Alley, just like Kathleen Turner.
They're not children actresses. He's just a fucking. It seems like he's trying really hard to be a pedophile. Like,
oh, I mean, he's getting there.
Like he just wants them to be like, ask me, like...
Yeah, he is really... I mean, he's doing a very good job of almost convincing me completely that he's like complete pedophile all the time. Because sometimes I feel like he's only pedophile on the clock, you know? but I'm kind of buying it. I'm kind of getting there. He sounded really warmed up, Bobby. He actually sounded like he was like, I don't know, feeling pretty comfortable with Dr. Keith. Not like, you know, other people.
Yeah, that's true. He was he got a little too comfortable with Dr. Keith because Dr. Keith supposedly...
They had sex?
No, he recorded him, though, on a hidden camera.
Having sex?
No, having a private conversation that... John Mark Karr just opens up to people way too easily.
What did he say? Did he open his legs? Is that like he said something like, have sex with me, Dr. Keith?
I'm going to play the clip.
Oh. I'll stop talking about it.
I just think that sexuality is controlled and driven by law, by legalities, and by the psychiatric community. I got a beef with the psychiatric community. Children don't deserve to be, number one, disenfranchised from their own body. If they want to come up to me, sit in my lap, kiss me, and stick their tongue in my mouth, that if that's what they want to do, I've got two choices to say stop and traumatize them because they wanted to do it. Okay, they're allowed to take their tongue and lick an ice cream cone and they want that ice cream. And I'm sorry to say that ice cream is probably worse for their health than my tongue is. Where does it stop? Right. I mean, where does it stop? I guess my feet, and then you've got people who are into feet.
There are people who are into feet.
Okay,
whose energy is focused on their feet, sexual energy.
I know that. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I've got that. I've got some of that in me myself, but not for anyone. But feet are about that.
What the fuck?
My
What
God,
a hot
the
hot take.
Wow.
He's just as he gets just as excitedly talking about like 9-year-olds and stuff as John does about like building a new house and Patsy dying. So.
Oh my God, I feel like I want to be sick. That's disgusting. He's like, oh yeah, my tongue's cleaner than ice cream. You're fucking... He's so fucking weird. That's disgusting. That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard in my life.
Them by telling them no, don't put your tongue in my mouth. Like what the I don't. That was just fucked up.
Jesus. And then he's grooming 9-year-olds in San Francisco, and then later wanting to marry him or something, and then getting a restraining order put against him because they told him he was gonna kill him.
And then has the balls to go on his website and then say shit like this. This is like right near the header. Mostly it's the powerful media that controls the narrative about me. This little website doesn't come close to the media monster websites and mighty TV networks. It's been said those who control the narrative control the world. I am far from controlling the narrative about John Mark Karr. The main reason is I've been completely silenced by the media with the exception of the occasional phone call with reporters who promise the call is off the record, but instead proceed to misquote me about everything I said and print it, or the outright lies that I've done interviews that I haven't done. Sure, the media might let me say a sentence or two, but be certain they will sabotage statements or comments I might say to suit their own anti-Karr agenda.
Because they wanted to do it. Okay, they're allowed to take their tongue and lick an ice cream cone, and they want that ice cream. And I'm sorry to say that ice cream is probably worse for their health than my tongue is.
For future references, due to a very bad experience I had in September 2023, if you're the media and you promise the bullshit off-the-record call in an attempt to hijack what you will then publish as an interview, you can go to hell.
Is he like speaking in third person?
How the king? I mean,
I like how he's like very much like upset about his whole thing is just like, you guys aren't following the rules of off the record.
Right,
you
like,
can't say that.
You know Robert Redford. You
off
know
the record? Yeah, I fucking killed her.
You know Wexford, not Wexford Karr, which is his father's name. I found out on the toilet.
Wexford Karr?
Wexford Karr.
Teddy did some research?
I did a little research.
So wait, Wexford Karr? Who is this man?
Research. So Wexford Karr, he was in like World War II, and then he had real estate in Atlanta.
He lives in Atlanta. Oh, he's the house they're at, Atlanta?
Well,
okay.
He died in 2014. That's John Mark Karr's father. And actually, John Mark Karr used to live about like 35 miles away from the Ramseys when they lived in Atlanta.
Teddy, how long were you in there?
I wasn't there for a long time. I took
That's awesome. So they live close.
Yeah. So, well, but
what if it's like a favor? The dad asking around Atlanta where it's like, hey, my boy's stuck in Thailand.
Oh my God, like his dad is one of those fat
Patsy.
cats.
Can you clear his charge? They got Ollie Gray, which we got to talk about.
Here you got the Ramseys. They need like they need someone to be the boogeyman instead of just saying the killer.
Mm-hmm.
They need someone who is a pedophile or pederast or whatever's, and they need someone who, maybe will be willing to go in front of the cameras and stuff. So maybe there's a reason why John Mark Karr was like the one saying that I was the one doing it, so he could come back to America. And then as a quid pro quo, he was then able to get his only child porn charge dropped weeks after arriving, and now he's a free man in this country.
And it was labeled as like a misdemeanor charge too. So it's like it seemed like it had already gotten reduced by the time he went to trial.
God.
And yet he was extradited for it.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was running from in Bangkok.
Right. No, like who
it's-
extradites for misdemeanors from one state to another?
Right.
You know?
Also, it's like there's something else to consider too. It's like it's a thing of like he said that he wrote letters to them before, and so what if it's a thing of like he's just like a fan of the family, and it's a thing where they see him as somebody who's like he's always like protested their innocence.
Yeah.
And he wants to say no matter what,
because he never ever talks bad about the Ramseys, and he's always like he always makes like John out to be like he's like this really big bad guy.
I'm highly intimidated by John. Every time I've ever heard him talk after JonBenet's death, he's just been dead set on catching this killer.
It's almost like his whole persona of that what's his guy's names like Wexner or Annie Lennox or what's his name?
Annie Lennox.
What's the alias? The Jennifer Garner's that John Mark Karr had. Daxis. Lexus. No, Daxis. Where it's almost like Daxis sounds like the name of like some sort of like cyber stalker, hacker, killer from some 1990s thriller about, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, the John Ramsey versus Daxis.
And it's also like
Stupid.
again, he was talking to the guy for 4 years. John has said like 2 in
4
some
years.
instances. Yeah. And it's 4 years, and then we found out that the Ramsey PIs were talking with him as well. And
With Michael Tracy,
and
the
we played
journalism
thing-
professor.
Yeah, and we played the thing where John says he wasn't aware of him, and I'm like, no, your PIs knew this guy was communicating with this guy.
Right.
And he could just be being technical again, where he's like, I wasn't aware of John Mark Karr, because it's like, oh, we knew him as Daxis.
Because he likes to, right.
Or something silly like that.
Or yeah, someone else was the one talking. And guess what, Bobby? I actually just looked this up real quick because I was looking at this when I was in the toilets, right?
Yeah.
And this is a quote from John Ramsey from August of like 2007 or whatever, where he said, Patsy was aware that authorities were close to making an arrest in the case, and had she lived to see this day, would no doubt have been as pleased as I am with today's development almost 10 years after our daughter's murder, John Ramsey said. And then if he knew the suspect, he said, to my knowledge, no, I don't. To my knowledge, like what? But then family attorney L. Lynn Wood, and Lynn Wood he's in Atlanta, and he was the attorney. He's also attorney for Donald Trump for this stuff, and he lost his license or whatever in some places. But L. Lynn Wood said the Ramseys had previously given authorities information about Karr, but declined to elaborate. And what information about John Mark Karr did they give to the authorities?
I've
When
looked into
Michael
this.
Tracy, he was saying that he was the one who gave it to the authorities.
Yeah, and I've looked into this, and I can't find anything that shows that they presented it to the authorities, because we've shown now twice where Michael Tracy has talked about how he just went to the DA's office. Well, the other one, he says he goes into his lawyer first. And his lawyer's like, we're going to go to the DA. But they also leave out in those interviews that he was already talking with the Ramsey investigators.
Well, the Ramsey PIs.
Yeah, and so it's like they knew like what was going on.
It's like there's always like a first draft of events, and then they fine tune it, and then they make a documentary that then like is the official narrative like later down the line.
Because again, like he was saying, it's 10 years after JonBenet's death, and it's like for some reason they've always found a way to be in the media cycle. And like some people don't know, but these news like segments, like guest spots, they pay good money. You know, like you could get upwards of like 20 grand for a guest spot on some of these shows.
I can make money being on the news.
The John Ramsey, being the father and shit like that, you can get a lot of money. And so it's a thing of re-bringing shit back up in a news cycle. Like the last thing anybody had really heard from them was probably 2002, where we had John was doing this weird brief run for office.
Oh yeah, Michigan.
In Michigan,
which he failed. He didn't even.
And he wasn't campaigning on anything with like stricter criminal shit at all. It had nothing to do with it. It was so weird. It was basically like, I think again, it was like John, like something with like a zoning thing, where it's like this started probably with an argument with like a contractor. And he's just like, you just fucking watch. Like,
yeah, he's like, guess what? I'm gonna blah 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 blah.
I'm gonna change the fencing laws here.
I was like, God.
No, and then so it's the thing of, does John Mark Karr also, get that kind of money? And it's the thing again, people have accused him, even that SNL thing, of wanting like the spotlight. He has refuted that in statements on his website, basically saying like, I didn't want to get caught. I never wanted that. He said it in that weird tape where he's basically like, I'm afraid of John. I don't want to get caught. I'll die before that.
Yeah.
Kind of shit. And there's a small part of me that actually does kind of believe him, that it's like he didn't want to get caught. But it is an interesting dichotomy of like where you're at now. Maybe even if you were the Ramsey Patsy and you knew that was going to be the case, what do you do now in your life? Because he couldn't go back to being a teacher anymore. And so it's like, what do you do? And then it's like, I could do this $10,000 appearance on a news show where they're fine to pay me $10,000 knowing that I continually go on each one of these news shows and say the same thing. You basically refer back to your initial statement. And this is one of them that's really good.
Did you ever actually meet JonBenet Ramsey in person?
Of course I did.
How many times were you with her?
You know, the description of my connection with her prior to her death is something that I can't discuss, and it's because in knowing a child, you don't just know that child. There are other people involved in knowing a child, and I had to protect the innocent, not the guilty. I can't respond to any details about my connection with her before her death.
Anybody else like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who are the innocent people?
And that's the things he keeps saying. And so he goes on, and it's like, because again, the journalist gets kind of frustrated too.
It was a connection as in knowing her as a child. I've known hundreds of children, and unfortunately, because there are other people involved in knowing a child, and I wish to protect them, I can't discuss the details of my connection with her. It's unfortunate. I wished I could.
Do you understand why that's confusing for people, though? Because you are very willing to come forward. You came on the show tonight. You did this long article with the AJC this morning. You keep saying you want to talk about things. You want to have this normal life. But you don't answer the questions that people are asking you, the questions that you know they want answered.
There are
Why?
reasons. There are reasons, and I just gave you the reason. That's the reason. It's a valid reason, and I'm sticking by it. And you know, the bottom line is, answering all the questions is not what's important to me. Whether someone believes me is not important to me. Protecting people who are innocent is important to me, and I'm going to do it at all costs.
That don't make no fucking sense. And of course I don't believe you. I don't understand, like, what the fuck. But like, why would you take these appointments? You know, okay, maybe you make some money being like a guest, doing these appearances on these news programs.
Because what else are you gonna do?
Right, but then each time you never, like, when you're finally are in front of these journalists, then you don't answer the questions. He didn't do it with Gavin Session. He doesn't do that. He always just like is towing some. He's towing some weird fucking line where it's
reprising
like,
his role as the Ramsey suspect.
The name that they can say instead of just the killers out there, or God forbid that someone shines the light back on their family. Like they have John Mark Karr, when it's like, but this motherfucker was never charged with killing JonBenet. His DNA wasn't on the scene.
He's not a pedophile. He's not even registered as a sex offender. After the graphic emails that he sends to that guy, like what it says he did to her, it's disgusting. Like it's the stuff where he's like kissing her genitalia.
It's so grossed on.
Oh my God.
But after that, it's the thing of like, what else are you gonna do? And it's like maybe that's just your life now, and he has different.
Maybe his income comes from playing this role on an ongoing basis, and that's why he continues doing this website. I wonder if he's going to keep doing this website after John Ramsey dies.
As I say, and if the Ramseys did pay for, I'm sure they will, because John Mark Karr is going to continue that journey. Yeah. It's probably till death. But if this is a Ramsey sponsored thing, how much do you think this whole stunt sets him back? Because there's like a new annual payments and shit like that. And it's like a thing. I mean, if I were them, I'd just have him fucking killed. But also with his like familiarity with online stuff, I guess I also wouldn't trust that he's got shit. And what's the connection? Maybe there's a connection that he's also saying like school, where he's saying.
I mean, like, right, like maybe the innocent people were part of a school system, but like, I mean, I do find it bizarre that like he lived within 35 miles away from the Ramsey family, and his father had multiple properties as a real estate agent in northern, like Fulton County, Atlanta. So it's like one of these things where I could almost foresee, just with all these people who were based in Atlanta, like there being a connection, not through him working at a school potentially with JonBenet, or like maybe he was a substitute teacher at some point or whatever. But I could see where he might be the child of a Ramsey associate or a Linwood associate or somebody who it can't come back to America because of something that because also, how did he get out of the country so quickly when those charges were first pressed?
You think they were there at the beginning of it, of like helping him get out?
No, not necessarily the Ramseys, but maybe like his father's connections, because you get charged with child porn, and then suddenly you're able to still get out of the country. You're still able to get on a plane.
And you painted as some James Bond-esque shit on your website, like I successfully eluded the authorities and the FBI for 5 years before I was caught. Conveniently leaving out that it's for child pornography charges.
Yeah, no, from the makers of 007. 007 years old. Give me a fucking break. Yeah, and so it's one of these things where it's never enough for him to be like actually arrested and kept as like a criminal. But when he doesn't go into the details that are like or any sort of things that actually like lend credence to him being the person, but he does put himself out there just enough so that it kind of helps buttress this whole narrative that like John Ramsey is innocent in the sense of at least like having any part in any of
It's
this.
the boogeyman thing. It's kind of like the Bin Laden thing, where it's this like looming presence, where it's like we know he's here and we can't capture him, and you have this like egregious and like a gregarious fucking website,
Well, it's usually
JonMarkKarr.com, where they're literally like the little customized tab at the fucking top is like a bloody handprint.
Oh my god!
You see that shit right up there?
Oh my god!
What?
Yeah. And like the header, again, media lies and law enforcement blunders that have granted me immunity for life. If that isn't Ramsey camp shit,
right?
It's the thing of like, this is like a testament to the fact that it's like, oh, they had the killer at one point and they let him go kind of thing. Because he still doesn't, he just basically always alludes back to his original fucking statement.
You need a Tommy Lee Jones to go against the Harrison Ford. You need a Monica Potter to go against the Morgan Freeman. You need to have an antagonist in order for your clients or, you know, the subject to be portrayed as a protagonist. And when you have the conditions of a stupid fucking ransom letter that talks about a small foreign faction, well, you know, it almost sounds like a small foreign faction, a guy on the run who is like, you know, like living across the world, but like has a predilection for little girls' feet or some shit like that.
Right. And he's still playing the villain too, again, in the media with him. Because one of the more public, the more recent, because he has a section at the bottom for public statements. He has a header titled "Damning Allegations Made Against Me That I Was Unaware of Until 5 months Later," which is like February of this year, by the way.
Oh my god!
Only recently did I discover that on October 4th, News Nation's Ashleigh Banfield released a statement on a television broadcast from the father of JonBenet Ramsey. In it, John Ramsey stated he had pretty strong evidence that you could prove his allegation against me. He's like, if that is true, it would be one of the most damning allegations ever brought against me. And we do have that clip here.
Can I just read this real quickly? This is what John Ramsey told us. It's a quick statement. He wasn't available tonight to talk with us, but he said, John Mark Karr is a viable suspect. His emails over 2 years became very concerning, and we turned him over to the DA for further scrutiny. Law enforcement did some amazing detective work to locate him in Thailand and eventually arrest him there. There is pretty strong evidence that he was stalking our family for a good while prior to JonBenet's murder.
The same John Ramsey that's like, well, everybody like, you know, slow your roll. Like this probably isn't the guy, but now he's like in 2023 saying like, oh, there's pretty strong evidence, just because it continues to perpetuate this narrative. It's like not actually meant to do anything meaningful. It's not actually real. It's just more of like the product of some sort of alliance and boys club kind of thing.
Like this guy's paid to be a red herring.
Exactly.
And then so like he comments on it. He goes, why did I not find out what Ramsey said about me until recently? Contrary to the public's insistence, I am an attention-seeking whore who runs around consuming every shred of news about myself. That is simply not true and never has been. And he goes basically saying, the most legally damaging statement made about me during the October 23 media coverage was the final sentence of the statement from John Ramsey. There's pretty strong evidence that he was stalking our family for a good while prior to JonBenet's murder. If John Ramsey can prove that the above accusation is true, it would establish knowledge of the victim well before the fact. It would also establish proximity to the victim well before the fact. Because John Ramsey is the father victim, his words are taken more seriously than most. This information now public has certainly compromised any possible ongoing investigations against me. Which, what does that fucking mean?
What the fuck are we even talking about anymore? I mean, he just is so, like, goes on, and it's like...
I think he's saying that it's like, he's still trying to say that, like, the Boulder police could still be trying to get me. It's still ongoing. Like, they haven't caught me yet. Like, maybe this is a part of their fucking deal. But... So let's take a look where, you know, what's going on with, you know, John Mark Karr now.
The ex-fiance of the man who falsely claimed he murdered JonBenet Ramsey says the former suspect is now living as a woman and trying to form a cult of little girls to have sex with him.
One of the scariest things about John Mark Karr is that he's gone to great lengths to change his identity. Not just in name, he's gone through 3 name changes that we know of. He goes by Alexis Valeron Reich, Delia Michelle Reich, and Alexis Delia Reich. So 3 different names, 2 different genders possibly, lots of different looks, which makes that much more scary and that much more difficult to pin him down.
He contends that, you know, he lived in America for a little bit and then had to move out of the States and then move back. And then now it seems like, you know, he's not in the country anymore. He's updating this absolute batshit website.
His website's bigger than my website.
It's basically just like the worst fucking Forrest Gump ever because there's even a section here with my brush with Kamala Harris.
He brushed Kamala's hair?
Yeah, and 2010, he's like we talked about earlier, he was accused of being everything from a felony death threats to being a sex cult leader. Fox News reported there was a warrant out for my arrest and the police in San Francisco were looking for me. The media directed their attention to the San Francisco DA's office that released this statement in response. At this point, there is no case to review for charging, says spokeswoman Erica Derrick. The San Francisco district attorney at the time was U.S. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who was not swayed by media pressure, false accusations of public opinion, and expeditiously closed down the rumor that her office had criminally charged me.
So they didn't have a file. The media asked the DA if there was a case, and they said no, there isn't. And he's like, thank God they shut down the rumor.
Kamala Harris cleared me. Thank you, Mama Kamala.
She's my bestie. What the fuck? Like, they're not even in the same room. He doesn't even know what her hormones sort of smell like.
Right.
That's crazy. He is so silly.
Again, he regularly updates this website, and also he has a Twitter.
He's got a Twitter though.
That he basically, it's like he's like a fucking news aggregate where I think he thinks he's like a reporter.
Oh, I am become press.
John Mark Karr, 13 followers.
Oh my gosh.
This is his Twitter.
Oh my God, he's got 13 followers. Oh my God.
What? One of them.
He's got the Union Jack as the flag, the Union Jack flag.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, am I in...
As his profile.
But yeah, it's a lot of just...
blonde little girls.
Redoing news articles. He does a lot of hashtags.
Lots of pictures of kids.
He's not a lot of likes at all.
Mary Poppins, which Patsy Ramsey loved that movie, by the way. No, there's just pictures of children.
He's not following anybody. So his bio for his Twitter is, be sure your sin will find you out. References Numbers 32:23.
Oh, that was a good number.
I don't know what the fuck that means because it's not a Bible verse.
That means he was about 44.
But a lot of I noticed on his website, there's a lot of stuff that's attributed to this Lei Sussurra, which I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
Lei Sussurra.
It's this online journalism website that if you read it for more than 5 minutes, you realize this is John Mark Karr. John Mark Karr has another website.
Oh my God.
That makes frequently, it's basically just making articles about himself. And then,
JonBenet Ramsey evidence, Gone with the Wind.
And then citing it on his website as people talking about him.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, John Mark Karr ransom note resemblance.
Oh my God.
And it's like, Lei Sussurra has received 4 John Mark Karr handwriting samples. And it's
he gave himself handwriting samples.
Yeah.
Lei Sussurra. What the fuck does that even mean?
And because of this, what is it? I think the Department of Homeland
Security joins the Department of Justice
because he posted this.
Oh my God!
On Christmas Day, Lei Sussurra released 4 digitally scanned Karr handwriting samples to the public on their website. The sample scans were supplied by Karr. The samples were first released privately in 2007 to 4 handwriting experts who connected Karr to the ransom note. According to statistical information provided by Lei Sussurra, the recently released GMK handwriting samples were downloaded from their site by the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. on January 3rd. The Department of Homeland Security joined the DOJ in downloading the Karr handwriting samples on January 28th. The download hit originated from DHS's internet image search for Karr's handwriting samples. So Karr's just monitoring this, whoever's coming to this fucking...
What the fuck? Like...
News website that no one's paying attention to.
No. That is absolutely bizarre and so transparent. And,
oh my God, yeah.
Karr's
Royal Romance.
Bobby, I just looked it up. I just looked it up. In Italian, Lei Sussurra means she whispers.
Oh my God.
This weirdo.
There's one article, Karr's Royal Romance.
Oh my God.
John Mark Karr, once arrested and extradited for the murder of JonBenet, was romantically involved with one of America's teenage elite prior to his covert exit from the United States in the fall of 2008. He's quoted as saying, she's from a prominent family that socializes with such names as Hearst and attended an exclusive private school for girls where tuition is $30,000 per year, says the source.
Okay, John Mark Karr. Okay, Lei Sussurra. Go ahead and whisper some more.
Karr admitted that he had known a girl who fit the description of the upper-class teen, but would say nothing more, giving the strong impression that he would protect his young love's privacy at all costs.
She's innocent.
I love how this news outlet seems just enamored with his.
This news outlet, Lei Sussurra, that's been operating since 2008. Just look it up.
And it's just supposed to be about JonBenet.
And it's just about JonBenet Karr and JonBenet Ramsey stuff.
It's like a little sidebar thing.
And it's written in the same fucking way. It's formatted so similarly to his other website. It's just a different background. Instead of black, it's a fucking like.
I bet it pains him to not be able to put designed by Karr.
Oh yeah.
Fucking image.
Which is like what is that even supposed to be? Like that's a horrible thing. It looks like it's like some like schoolgirl's legs and but it's like awkwardly cut off. Yeah.
And then showing like, look, this is the home.
This is a private school or home or something.
Also, it's like, who in American royalty? Like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I know, like he's, this isn't real. I mean, but also Lei Sussurra, the independent, authority, like a journalistic authority. They wrote like in some point, the posh little princess, which is like the same kind of shit that John would write in his outline, like the little princess or princess of little people or something. This is what does that say? What does that say, Bobby?
It's a thing about just talking about that he wanted to create a cult. A lot of this website seemed to start around that time in that 2010. That thing.
That image with his eyes and Charles Manson and oh my god, this is so fucking stupid. I love it. This should be a movie.
He goes on to explain this. Karr is from a long line of religious leaders. His father was a missionary evangelist, once launching a church in Caribbean Jamaica. Karr's mother, a teen missionary herself, was the daughter of an evangelical preacher who started his own church in Central America's Guatemala until he was chased out by the political unrest in the 1970s.
God, Lei Sussurra. We whisper only about JonBenet Karr's families. That is wild. Oh my god. And not just, further adds, like, this guy is not, there's something fishy.
Oh my god, look at this. They end the article with, obviously Karr was halted in his attempt to organize a cult comprised of young female followers, or was he? Since there is no knowledge of his current whereabouts, nor of the current goings-on in his life, could it be that Karr is in some tropical utopia carrying out an old family tradition? Without a doubt, U.S. federal authorities and international law enforcement will certainly make it a point to find out.
Oh my god, this is hilarious.
He's like got this weird elaborate fantasy where he's being chased across the globe, which
it's like and that's also this whole like, when he was like, oh, I was in South Africa and I was in all these places. It's like, were you really? Or like, is this added to like the
some Ezra Miller shit?
Yeah, this like it's bizarre. And honestly, it says contact at leisussurra.uk or something like that. Like,
Lei Sussurra.
Yeah, we should email them at some point.
I got his email. His email's on his actual website.
Oh my god!
You can just contact JonBenet Karr directly.
Oh my god!
Or you can tweet him. He's got 13 fucking followers.
Let's ask one of them. Let's interview him sometime.
Yeah.
He'll
talk to us. He doesn't really trust the journalists,
Maybe if we whisper.
He's like, too many people have told him it's off the record.
Bobby will whisper. JonBenet Karr.
Maybe we'll just pretend to be 9-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Exclusive interview with JonBenet Karr. 9-year-old girls. Good luck talking to 9-year-old girls anymore, JonBenet Karr, because it might be Teddy.
Yeah. You never know if on the other end of the phone line is gonna be me, where I am not a 9-year-old little girl. Okay, I am about 400 pounds of pure man or adult man. Sometimes adult she-male.
20 of those pounds is 100% assist.
Yeah. It affects the way my balance, It
affects everything.
You got that right, Bobby. And so, but I can do a little girl's voice. And I want to do a little girl's voice.
John, you sound like my dad, John. Hi. I'm 9 years old, I'm white, and I like Taylor Swift, and I'm white. You're so sexy. You have a red pen. You can draw my hand with it.
See?
That was perfect.
I sound just like a white little girl.
Absolutely horrifying. So to close us out, like you guys, what do you think for this whole grand picture that we've seen of JonBenet Karr now?
I feel like this is a guy who can't even harm a potato salad, and yet like they're trying to portray him as like this, like, I don't know, fucking like Samuel Jackson, Age of Ultron sort of robot,
That's true.
killer.
That's a good point. Even his lawyer pointed out too in that California thing that it's like, if he had really been this sadistic like pedophile, why hasn't anyone came forward to say that he's done this before or something like that?
He probably did it more than once.
Maybe he looked
like he had a thing for a long time.
That's true.
So.
That's true. And it's like maybe he looked at child porn on his computer in California once or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's like, so then it's like, oh, this rich dude where he's like fleeing.
I mean, it's one of those. It was like if you were running in the same fat cat circles as the John Ramsey or 1 degree away from John Ramsey for years, and then you had a son who actually had a charge that you had to help, maybe even help him flee the country from with your influences, so that he could, and you wanted him back in the country, he wanted to be back in America, and there was some sort of quid pro quo set up where it's like, listen, if he becomes this red herring, if he becomes this poster child molester, then we will quickly be able to get rid of that charge. We'll be able to expunge it from his record. He can be back in his homeland, and all he has to do is keep perpetuating this thing. While meanwhile, concurrently, parallel, John Ramsey, after Patsy died, completely changes the arc so that he between the DA Lacey sending this exculpatory sort of letter saying there's no charges, we apologize to the Ramseys, and then him doing this whole born again Christian sort of oh yeah, I remember born again, yeah, I might do it again, but born again Christian sort of angle where he's writing books about I found my faith and some big titty blondes that I'm titty fucking.
Who?
John Ramsey.
Oh, John.
It's a thing where it's further differentiating John Ramsey from any darkness or negativity and assigning a blame to someone who's willing to do it or is being paid to do it or who needed to do it in order to regain entry into this country and has to keep doing it. And who knows with this level of conspiracy, because people working together is conspiracy.
And you pointed out that arc though, if you look at it though, it's the thing of this happened 2006 with the John Mark Karr thing. Yeah. Then it was the thing where the Boulder police basically cleared him. It was a let go thing, and now it's like a win-win for them where they're like, oh, they fucked this one up. This guy's admitting it. That's 2006, but the general public still wasn't fully swayed. That was the thing. I don't think it took like they really wanted it to. It did reignite interest in the case, and a lot of people reheard about it and thinking oh yeah, didn't they get the one guy that said they did it or whatever? But it still didn't take enough, and that's why then 2 years later, they went that fucking extra mile with Mary Lacey, like you were saying. 2 years later, then Mary Lacey. And then John was in his fully kickback era where then the next time you see him a few years later, he's like, oh, it's John Ramsey introducing his new wife. He's not doing these things where he's just talking about life after
doing press appearances where the people who are supposed to be objective reporters are just towing the line saying you were cleared by everyone. How does it feel to have been someone that we're when Ashleigh Banfield was like, on behalf of all the news people who just targeted you, I apologize. And it's like, what the fuck are you apologizing for?
I consider you a red.
Right. It is it's crazy. And that's where I'm just and that's also where I wonder, when we think about cable news, when we think about the news stories that were repeated incessantly, when we think about the Ramsey case or prior to that, the O.J. Simpson case, or just any sort of thing that is let me tell you about this, Donna. In the 1980s, there was something that was called the Fairness Doctrine, and it expired. It expired because what the Fairness Doctrine first was that basically news had to be much more objective. There had to be there were certain rules and certain and clear lines between opinion and news or news even what I mean to say is that after the Fairness Doctrine was expired in the lapse, then we had the birth of Fox News with Roger Ailes, and we had even more cable news just taking over more market share, and those companies are driven by shareholders. They have quarterly earnings reports. They need to make money. And there's something weird about CNN being in Atlanta, about a News Nation and an Ortham both being close to each other in Texas, about certain mega news conglomerates that are benefiting from this story or this story ongoing, and we know that the Ramsey or John Ramsey, he will not be in any hostile environment. He will only do things that are going to be cozied up to him. And I have to just wonder if all of this is just some weird fucking just
show.
Yeah. It's all they're all scratching each other's backs.
And they get money from it. And that's the sick thing is you're actually just profiting from it. It's the thing every few years he's go to Beaver, pop himself back up. There's an accusation. We need John Mark Karr to come out and do.
It's Q3 right before blah blah blah. Let's go ahead and just get another fucking thing, and and it's like clockwork. And it's one of those things where they also try to make it so that if you were to question it or if you were to go express anything aside from just blind sympathy for like the Ramseys and what they've had to go through, that there's something deviant about you when really it's like, no, I can tell that this fish stinks. It's fishy and fishy and fishy. And John Mark Karr, he doesn't make logical sense and as an actual suspect. He only makes sense as maybe almost like the keystone that revealed that these institutions are connected.
And like on that, like it's like what you're saying though, any good conspiracy though too has like a twofold outcome too, where it's the thing where they not only just get a new suspect who like takes away their umbrella of suspicion, but it's like
it creates reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what you want. You just create more confusion.
And it harms the Boulder Police Department's credibility too, saying they blundered again.
They can't. I mean, even when they do have evidence, they fuck it up. So
The DAs in Colorado, like in Boulder, they were politically appointed. They have to run political campaigns where they make money, and they get money from the most wealthy people there. Or the wealthy people can be like, oh, if they're not gonna scratch my back, then like you're not gonna get anything. In fact, we're gonna fund your opponent, and we may even cut your fucking brakes.
Money is everything.
Money is everything. And so it's and again, this is a family that had multiple private planes at some point. They had movie theater rooms. They have multiple properties. They've got boats named Miss America. They have so much money. There is money all over this. And yet I feel like, ironically, this really does peel back the curtain in a Wizard of Oz kind of Wizard of Oz way, of that there is no Grand Wizard. It is a man behind a screen. And these CNN, Nose Nation, Linwood, the Ramseys, the Ghislaine Maxwell's, the lawyers, the private investigators, the Art Schmidts, the DAs,
they use the media.
They're all together. They're on cahoots, and they're all building profit. And they're all not. And there's no politicians that are going to stop them because they also have so much influence in what politicians get elected.
That's terrible.
Well,
they shouldn't be allowed to lobby.
And they need to get it from these people.
But like Congress, that's a different thing. But they shouldn't be allowed to lobby. But also,
really
but the ultimate question then, out of this whole thing, and so I want both of you guys' answers on this. Donna, I want you to go first, okay?
Yep.
So, you're John Mark Karr. You're now faced with what's going to be the rest of your life. You have to continually go out in the public, basically say you're a fucking pedophile. What's your price?
My price?
Your price, aside from just getting that one charge reduced. There's no way it's just that, where you just get freedom back in America, and you have to keep going out in America because you got to keep people quiet.
Yeah.
Or like keep them paid. Like,
yeah. So what's your price to keep going out in public whenever they need you to say you're a pedophile for the rest of your life?
Oh, I mean, so you never have to worry about money again. I mean.
So what's your price for that? What do you think that would be?
I don't know, like $1 million a year.
$1 million a year, okay. Teddy?
Yeah.
That's really modest.
Yeah.
For publicly being hated.
Hey, everybody, if you need a female pedophile to hire, you can just hire this idiot.
Well,
if you need a fall guy.
If it's gonna, like, he looks young, it could be for years. You don't know how long. Like,
see how fucking cheap this is? That's what I'm saying.
Easy.
So what's your price?
And she don't even have no child pornography charge. That we know of. No, I would probably say that I would, to say that I was abusing children, JonBenet.
What?
I would want like maybe $700,000 a year and like a bunch of Long John Silver's coupons, so I could get like a bunch of fish and chips. You know that chips.
You thought I was cheap.
You know how much. And you know what? Actually, it's right. I have to consider this would have had to have been around the time that he had left the country. So he had left in 2001. So if he starts the emails in 2002, and if we have to assume that if there's a thing where he's paid for this.
Yeah.
They started this whole little campaign early.
This is how he's.
But that might be why they're also misremembering the times where they've said 2 years instead of 4, and that maybe they stretched it out to be 4 to look worse, or like it had been going on longer or whatever. Or they avoided that it had been going on longer because people had been suspicious that maybe they paid him. So it's a thing of if we're saying the scenario we're talking about where the Ramseys are behind this, they would have had to be behind it since 2002. A year after he fled. And it's like waiting to activate, like, hey, this will be
when the time is right.
Because if the professor isn't necessarily in on it, it's a hapless guy, then he's maybe just sending him innocuous emails throughout months that this busy professor is just like, I got a fucking class, like ignoring this weirdo. And then it's a thing of it's like maybe then one of the PIs pushes him to be like, hey, It's like, have you been getting something about this?
That makes more sense
him
than
as a figure to be like, because he's an innocent person in it, but he doesn't know he's being used as a pawn.
Maybe he is not as innocent as he wants to be portrayed, because it's very interesting. Like, I would imagine if someone was a journalist professor at the University of Boulder, Colorado, they would have a ton of local connections with all the media outlets there. And I also would imagine that, they wouldn't even need $1 million in order to do some favors or whatever. Like, I just have a weird feeling about that whole story of like this professor receiving these unsolicited emails for 4 years and never doing anything about it until right around the time Patsy Ramsey dies.
And the 10-year anniversary, yeah.
The 10-year anniversary, and right around the time when it's finally brought to the attention to the DA through maybe potentially someone in the Ramsey camp that the Ramseys even aware of, but also that is also around the same time when they start recording the calls, or even that Daxis goes, "Do you want to hear my voice?" It's like, is there some sort of almost you like the claw from Inspector Gadget, some hidden shadowy figure who makes a phone call to Daxis and says, "You're going to ask him if he wants to hear your voice," and then at the same time through some other outlets or channels is talking to this journalist going, "You're going to like do this and blah blah blah."
And one of the first things out of your fucking mouth is that you're afraid of John.
Right? Come on.
I'm afraid of John. That's like knowing this is gonna air at some point where John's like,
right? Like,
Patsy's in her final months, which we found out, by the way, John basically was the one that made the decision to not continue her treatments, and basically
he pulled the plug.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Wow.
so it's the thing of like, yeah, John, like this is gonna look great for me when this comes out. I'm afraid of John. Like this is gonna play.
He's like, 10 years has been enough. He's like, I'm done with all this shit.
What was your number? Did you say your number?
My number was 700,000 and coupons from Long John Silver's. But Long John Silver's meals, those cost more than $1. So if I had 300,000 coupons,
and trying to find a Long John Silver's.
If I had 300,000 coupons, that could have that's like $1 million in fish. And if I get that every year, I could eat fish every day.
Well, you got guys, pedophiles. Potential pedophile Patsies are up for grabs. One of them is you're paying for what you get. Donna's probably the better one. The million, you want to do that. Teddy's cheaper, but not a very reliable.
No, keep it clean. Even 1 million.
Yeah.
A year. Yeah. And you'll just keep coming up like, yeah, I'm a pedophile. And then it's like, but what'd you do? And then you just have to be like, I can't talk about it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's an NDA where he's limited to what he can say.
I would just keep saying shit like it's definitely nothing to do with
I can't
Illuminati.
talk about this.
Yeah.
And the innocent people is just the Ramseys.
I didn't take a cash payment like I mean,
if you're gonna be a troll though, troll him.
I can practice.
Bring up the Illuminati.
I can practice. I'm gonna start doing that now so that I'm ready.
Troll
for
training?
what?
Troll training?
I'm gonna start like being like saying good things, like things that a pedophile would say. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna practice it because like
you want to raise your value.
Well, I want to be good. I want to honor the contract, just like John Michael Karr.
Okay, no one's actually asking you guys to do this.
Oh.
And they definitely wouldn't trust you.
So I'm not gonna get no fish and no money, and Donna's unemployed because she's a fucking
it's your fault,
hazard. We're walking fucking
take this page about
wet floor sign. I swear to God.
I think this was a good look into John Mark Karr. So it's like we want to know what you guys think. Number one, what's your number? Do you think that possibly he was somebody that was hired by the Ramseys, or was he just a weird pedophile that did somehow get to know JonBenet through?
Yeah, we want to hear your thoughts.
System?
Like
who orchestrated this? What's going on here?
And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, subscribe. Apparently, it turns out that it actually helps by saying it. If we say that, we don't ever say it.
And now that Donna's got no money, if you want to join our Patreon and support us financially, we'd really appreciate it too. Because we got a lot of chicken nuggets to eat and throw on the floor.
Maybe
just eat them,
luxurious
Teddy.
life.
Well,
costs a lot.
I don't know why everything is being cast as my fault.
You said she brings you food, you throw it on the floor the first time, and then you take the second food.
Yeah, because it tastes better then.
And
Okay,
then you
that's your
wonder why
fault.
my fingers
All
are
right,
greasy.
whatever. I gotta go. I want to eat. Let's call it.
All right.
Donna, I'm glad you're back. I'm sorry you lost your job, but
Hey,
it would be
thanks,
nice to have
Uncle.
you
Yeah.
around more. So, all right. Well, hey,
And he's glad I'm back too. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for having me today, and my driver.
did you say Teddy's glad I'm
Now
back
I'm your
too?
driver.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm hallucinating. Oh God, no! A little kid
His
kissed my
blood
tongue.
sugar's low because you didn't bring in that milkshake.
I mean,
Oh my God.
John Michael Karr just
Don't
fucking
stop.
disoriented me.
Fine, we'll go get the milkshake.
Thank you, Donna.
All right.
Finally.
Come
Jesus.
on, let's go get in the car.
You know how long we had to
Let's
fucking
go.
talk about this pedophile before she finally got the hint that I wanted a milkshake right now? I'm like, okay,
All right, fine,
we're going to
Teddy.
leave. Let's do this.
Got it.
Well, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm not a pedophile. Teddy Ronald Reagan this Maggie.
And this is
JonBenet today.
Banging my Christmas bells. Oh, pipes. Not bells, pipes. Okay, I'm doing it again.